If a times b is not equal to 0, is the absolute value of a minus b greater than the absolute value of a plus b? So for a lot of times with absolute value questions, especially ones with multiple absolute value expressions and multiple variables, I am testing numbers. I am not good at sort of visualizing things on a number line, but those are sort of your two options. Either just think about it or test numbers. But in this case, I'm thinking maybe I can think about what's going on here. Because think about what this is saying, because our two sides of our inequality here are sort of similar, which makes them easy to compare. Because we are saying we want some number. So when you subtract from it some number, you're getting further away from 0. You are increasing in magnitude. So that is how you're going to get. And then so when you add to that number, it is decreasing in magnitude. That is how you're going to end up with the left side being bigger than the right side. So when will that happen? So when I subtract some number from some other number, I get further away from 0. Whereas when I add to that number, I get closer to 0. So either you're going to have you are subtracting a positive number from a negative number. So in this case, you're becoming more negative, and this will be true. And then the other case is when you're starting from a positive number and you are subtracting a negative, because then you just are adding to the positive number. So these are sort of our two cases for A and B when this statement from the question, I should say, from our prompt will be able to answer yes to it. So either so A and B have to have different signs. So we can really rephrase our question that way: is do A and B have different signs? And so with that, so doing some thinking up front will hopefully save us time looking at the statements. So A times B is less than 0. Well, if we are taking the product of two numbers, the only way that product can be less than 0 is if we have a positive times a negative, or a negative times a positive. In other words, A and B have to have different signs. This is sufficient, and it is sufficient to say yes to our question. Statement 2, A is greater than B. So there are a couple ways this is possible. A can just be any positive number, whereas B is a negative number. So in this case, they do have different signs. Or what else is possible? Oh, you could have both of them are positive, but A is more positive than B. And this would be no, they don't have different signs. So because we can get a yes and a no, this guy here is insufficient. So this first one was sufficient. Statement 2 is insufficient. A is our answer.